Bitcoin flipping bullish to the exact best bottom area to long on this single mega indicator. Everyone on the planet knows that if $30,000 per Bitcoin holds, we're headed to the complete breakout of 3 giga patterns that have been forming for months and in some cases years. But if you think that's big, just wait until you see this. Right now, Bitcoin is about to receive a very big weekly close. Above 30,000 US dollars, which we will know in just moments. By the time you're watching this, potentially we already have received that. But more importantly, taking a look at where Bitcoin is right now, this is huge as we set up for the new week. Begin pretty much the second week of July 2023 and head into what will no doubt be spectacular price action. Starting off with the SPX, even the stock market, actually dumped into the weekly close last week. As you see, potentially forming some sort of double top-ish pattern. With the SPX, we actually did squeak out a little bit of a high here, going all the way up to about 4460, which is the highest that the S&P 500 has been in the past 15 months. Okay, as we were plummeting below to the bottom depths, all the way down at like 3,500 back in October of 2022. But with that being said, the SPX does have some significant support below it. It is not the primary focus of this video talking about the stock market, but it is something that I wanted to start off with, and also starting off with the DXY, which also has gotten yet another rejection off of this level, about 103. A pretty strong rejection off 103.4. Continued weakness, continued lower highs for the DXY. What I ultimately think is only the beginning of this trend to the dumpy side for the next year or so. As you know, it's very possible we get 1 or 2 more rate hikes. I think that the market is very aware. Most people are very aware of that. But in the wider context, most likely where we're headed is that, 1 or 2 more rate hikes, and that's it. Okay. Probably keeping it around these levels, these interest rates. But then ultimately, the direction moving forward is not going to be to continue raising these rate hikes in the long term. The long-term trend will be to reverse what we've done over the last year and a half. And that will absolutely bring the DXY down, just like we saw the rate hikes completely catapult the DXY throughout the entirety of 2022. The downtrend for the DXY, I believe, is just beginning, which historically has been really good for Bitcoin's price. Now, as we all know, the halving is just a little less than a year away. Where Bitcoin is right now, though, sitting right on top of the 21-day moving average. Support right here, around 30K. Ultimately, the only thing that matters over the next week or so is to hold 30K. Holding 30K, I think everyone is aware that Bitcoin can then have a giga bust and potentially touch on those low $40,000 targets that I'm going to show you in a second here as well. But the first step is holding 30K. And as I've been saying for weeks, 28K is a decent pullback level to where I would personally then be adding more to my longs around 28K, not getting bearish at 28K, right? I'm telling you that in advance, not, as it's happening. There's just very big support for Bitcoin around a lot of these levels. And when we saw this flip bullish, the MACD on this 15-day chart for Bitcoin back at the very beginning of 2023, literally January of 2023, that was basically the best place to long, right at about 16,000. Nice little pump for months afterwards. And we've seen the momentum swing very strongly. You can see this MACD, the deepest it's been here as it goes back on this chart. The deepest that this chart has it going back. And I think the momentum is going to swing it like this over the next year. So this is not, again, this is long-term we're looking at. But ultimately, this is what I'm, expecting it to swing up here. And, that this indicator showed that. And right now, this momentum is still showing positive momentum. But more important, as I mentioned, all of these macro patterns. For example, whether it is a year-long a year-long cup and handle pattern, a 2-year-long falling wedge that has already begun to break out. There's multiple very bullish short-term. Well, these are longer term, but could get very, very, very busty in the short-term patterns as we are literally at the most important points of these patterns. Specifically, this one now, the cup and handle. Where this began back in April of 2022. The very tippy top here, then about exactly a year later in April of 2023, and then 3 months of this handle, the initial breakout, and now we're testing the neckline, the very tippy top of this pattern. This is the most exciting part of this pattern. Now, just as I said, a week or two ago when we were about to break out here, a couple of weeks ago towards the middle of June, that we could have this bust above 30K. Just as I was saying that, what I'm saying here now is that this is infinitely more exciting than that, because if we get a true bust above 30K, it validates this year-plus long cup and handle. 30K is by far the biggest resistance now that needs to be flipped to support. That's why this is going to take, that's why we've already been trading here for a couple of weeks, and it could take even, maybe a couple more weeks, but it could also literally happen tomorrow. That's what this testing right around 30K is just so important. And same thing here. We're just retesting this high from back in April to continue this much longer falling wedge pattern. As I've mentioned in the past as well, throughout the entirety of the last bear market, I was on YouTube making videos. I was on YouTube making videos about this symmetrical triangle, and basically said, when we come to the end of this, we're going to start busting. I remember making videos when we were right here, testing this as support, and then ultimately I got really excited right about here. But look what happened. We went up a little bit. We spent a couple weeks just kind of trading sideways down a little bit, and it was kind of boring, a little anticlimactic. People were saying, oh, where's the breakout? I thought this was going to be a massive breakout, right? I remember making videos, living through this. People were very doubtful. And then look what happened. It did exactly that. And that's all in also the context of the crash we had back in March of 2020, which you would have thought could have potentially ruined the pattern. It didn't. It happened exactly as we said it would, but it takes time. It's not guaranteed that it'll happen by tomorrow. Patience is definitely required here, but we're right on the cusp of basically the biggest bust we could imagine here. Mr. Crypto also pointing out that he would only turn bearish when Bitcoin hits the belief zone, which is this green line right here of the net unrealized profit loss indicator. We're not quite there yet. We hit it multiple times in the last bull market, and we had little pullbacks afterwards. But it's still just illustrating there's basically even some very nice opportunity for upside even in the short term. And Crypto Con pointing out his indicator here of a price call around 40K, where if you look at the Gann square, which is highlighted here as he maps it out, basically saying if we break this resistance right about here, right around like the $32,000 level, then next stop is up to 40K. And we've seen this play out so far 2 months before 2023 began to now. So basically the past 8 or 9 months, we've been having similar bust ups like this. And there's one article I just wanted to really briefly look at, 3 reasons why Bitcoin's price is primed to hold the 30K level as support, specifically margin on options and futures markets showing strength for Bitcoin. Also, traders not buying protective puts are increasing short positions against Bitcoin at these levels. And given the market's expectation of a potential ETF, I just want to say that if we actually get a single ETF approved, which all of these money managers or asset managers have refiled to kind of clarify the things Gary Gensler had mentioned about a week or so ago about why they were inadequate. They've all refiled. If we get a single one of these to pass, then all bearish TA and scenarios in the short term can pretty much just go out the window, can be disregarded. Now, as I say that, it's not guaranteed we're going to get a Bitcoin spot ETF approval. But all I'm saying is the cards are right now stacked on the bullish side. And there's no definitive decision, I guess, yet that we either plummet down to 20K or pump up to 40K. Right now, we're right in the middle at 30K. But all I'm saying is the cards are stacked there's more and more ammo of chances that some bullish scenarios are going to play out over the next month than the bearish scenarios. And that's simply called the risk to reward. Right now, the reward is much higher than the risk. The year of 2022 was the exact opposite. The risk was much greater that we would continue plummeting and just completely getting dumped on, lower high after lower high, lower low after lower low. Whereas the entirety of 2023 we've seen so far, 2 full quarters in, 1/2 of the year already in, it has been the exact opposite. Higher low after higher low, higher high after higher high on this chart, right? Bust up here, higher high, lower high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So far, we have gotten a little bit of a higher high, but for this to really get exciting, again, I think we really need to bust up to at least $34,000 US. And that requires that we hold 30K as support. And take advantage of massive bonuses with Femex and BitGet below when you sign up with my links. As well, the new copy trade feature is live on Femex, where you can simply copy traders what they're trading with your capital, and pretty much put it on autopilot if you're interested in that. But also massive sign up and welcome bonuses. And as well, beginning tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting a massive competition on Femex, trading competition, and I'll be giving more details when that begins for people that are interested. But if you want to get started, all you have to do is sign up with my link to Femex below. It takes 30 seconds to put in an email, create a password, and that's it. Without any further ado, it's free.